Good afternoon, this is Pat Walker, Mission Winners, doing a training coaching video for everybody on the ETFs. Why do we look at the ETFs? This is a very important foundation I've used for decades. Leading groups produce leading stocks, and leading stocks produce leading groups. Looking at the ETFs, it gives us a good frame up on areas to potentially concentrate on, but also areas to avoid. Both foundations are really useful to us. Helps us make money, also helps keep us safe. So let's go in and take a look at here. Now, we always sort this. This is sorted by industry group rank, or alphabetically. So just to let you know, it's not sorted any other way, just alphabetically. So here we go. And you can always see the ticker symbol up here, BOTZ. You see it over here too. BOTZ robotics, just basing right here. But you can see it looks like it might, on the weekly, could be forming a cup. And on the daily also, could be forming a cup and maybe a handle. All right, you can see the cup. Maybe it'll form a handle. That doesn't look too bad. Let's continue onwards. Cloud computing's hanging in nicely. Pulled back a little bit on Friday on a slight pickup in volume, but you can see on the weekly, but also on the daily, it's been acting strong. What has it been telling us? Hey, maybe looking at some cloud computing stocks. Now you see why we do this at Mission Winners. It helps us. I've done this for years. The diamonds are hanging in there near highs. Here's the weekly, here's the daily, they're up near the high. The Dow 30s near highs. That's good to know. Near highs for this move, I should clarify. Continue onward. By the way, this is sorted alphabetically, all right? Dow Jones Internet has been leading. And what has that said to us back here? Hey, you might want to take a look at some internet stocks, and we're involved there. There you go. It's not rocket science. It's just connecting the dots. Again, leading groups produce leading stocks produce leading groups. Now, it's a little bit extended here, and I put a reversal bar in here on a slight pickup in volume, so just be cautious with that. This is a very important lesson for everybody. Buy at the right price. The right price to buy is in here, not up here. Don't chase price. Chasing price is exhibiting high emotions, and high emotions in good investing is mutually exclusive. So don't chase price. Just wanted to share that with you. Continue on. The IBD 50's hanging in, kind of reversed down here though on Friday on a pickup in volume. Here's the weekly though, doesn't look too bad, as you can see. And the daily, but again, it gapped up, ran up, and reversed down on a pickup in volume. A little bit extended, so be careful with that. Just giving you a heads up. Dorsey Wright First Trust, technology related. That one's hanging in, all right? Here's the weekly, here's the daily, but it also ran up and fell a bit, and it's a little bit extended. Don't chase. I'm encourage you, try to buy at the right price. Right in here was a price going across that line right there. It's a little bit extended, just be careful with that. The trend is up, okay? China's kind of choppy here, folks, all right? I mean, goes up, gaps down, goes up. A lot of gaps in here. Just be careful with that. Gold miners, kind of hanging in, but you look at the weekly, it's not in a real leadership position here, all right? Maybe it's going to form a little handle here, but not super stellar, just for what it's worth. Same thing's true with gold, all right? Resistance at the 50-day, just nothing great, all right? Continue on. Biotech, look at that. In 1 second, it says, stay away from the biotech stocks. It's that simple. Here's the weekly, here's the daily. There's not a lot of power there. Leave it alone. Oil and gas was acting strong. There was a base break here, and it started to lift off. And what do? You sell some into strength if you bought it. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Look what it did Friday on a slight pickup in volume. This is an important lesson for everybody. Buy at the right price. The spot to buy this, the safer spot to buy this is like right in here, all right? In here, volume pickup through that line, through those tops, not up here. I encourage you, please. Chasing price is indicative of high emotions. You don't want high emotions when you're buying stocks. Don't chase price. That's the moral of the story. Because if you bought it up here, now you've got a problem. If you bought it here, you would have sold some into strength, and you're okay. There's the difference. At Mission Winners, that's where we look at. Technology, software, that's acting decent. There you go. What's that say to us? And what has it said? Maybe get involved with some software stocks. That's nice to know. That's information for you. Medicine's hanging in there. IHI, it's a little bit extended, but you see it's been trending up. What has that said? Maybe punch up IHI and see what their top 10 holdings are. Get involved with some medicine. Continue onwards. IJH, mid-caps acting a little bit better. Notice here, what does this tell us? The trend's spreading out a little bit. It's not just a few select stocks that are moving. It's spreading out to other areas. Aerospace and defense ran up. Big reversal bar here. And you look at the weekly. Be careful with that. At this point in time, what's the message? Be a little careful. It's a little loose here now, and it fell. Big reversal bar, and it tailed off on the weekly too. Be careful with aerospace defense stocks. There we go. For buying them. U.S. home construction. Look at this trend on the weekly. Look at that. And folks, I will tell you this. We can document it. There's about 4 or 5 home building stocks that we bought back in here that are trending very nicely for us. Beezer Homes, Pulte Homes. I mean, they're KBH. They're working. Okay. So this is trending nicely. Now, what else does it say? It's a little bit extended. Be careful buying extended. So that's same true with the stocks. Don't buy extended stocks. Continue onwards. S&P 500 growth looks decent. That's fine. Then what does that say? Hey, you can look into some growth stocks. That's all. Small caps hanging in. What does that say? Hey, you can look into some small cap stocks. That's fine. Fell a bit on volume here because it's a little bit extended. So be careful with that. All right, in that area. Real estate's hanging in, trending up, involved with real estate. And again, think about real estate, think about home building. That's what we're involved with. Transportation's acting okay. That's good. And so what's the point here? Way back here, you can say, oh, I could be looking at some transport stocks. That's all. You could punch up IYT and find out one of their top 10 holdings. You may find some candidates. It's a little bit extended now, okay? And be careful with that. This is an important lesson. Jets Airlines ran up, but look at this reversal bar, folks. Gapped up, ran up, closed near the lows on a big pickup in volume. Folks, be careful with things like that. Charts talk and listen. Just listen with an open mind and no bias. By the way, it had a reversal bar here, and it had another reversal bar here. There's some selling going on there. And here's the weekly. What does that say? Just be careful with some of the airline stocks. Jets, there you go. Regional banking's basing, but gosh, there's a ton of overhead here on the weekly. Look at that. So looks okay on the daily, but not so good here. All right. I'd be cautious with that. Mid-cap's kind of hanging in. Fell a bit though on Friday on a pickup in volume. What's the important message here? Mid-cap doesn't look too bad. You could look at some mid-cap stocks. Continue onwards. Oil services. Nice move here, right? Nice move here. Are we involved with some oil services, energy? Yeah, it was telling us to. It's that simple, and it works, connecting the dots. You go to the big picture first. Oh, energy's acting decent. Back here even, maybe I should look into some energy stocks. See how we connect the dots at Mission Winners? It works. This is the part I like. It's not fancy. It's simple. It's conceptually correct. And we use that. Pharmaceuticals, what does this say? Stay away from the drug stocks. Stay away from drugs too. There's just nothing good going on there, okay? Leave it alone. Dynamic software, it's acting good. Now this is really thin. I'm not saying buy it, but what has it been telling us? Back in here, hey, get involved with some software stocks. Have we been? Yes, we have. Microsoft, things like this. They're working. It's still trending nicely. QLD, NASDAQ 100, ran up. We've been involved with it here. Okay, we were involved with it, I do believe, back in here too. But now notice this. A little bit of a tail bar here. Gapped up, ran up, and closed below where it opened on a pickup in volume. A little bit extended. Not bad, just a little bit. Tells you just to be a little cautious there with the markets. QQQ, same situation, but the trend is still up. All right, the trend is still up, but a little bit of reversal on a pickup in volume. There we go. Retail's acting fine, and it has for a while. What does that say? You could look into some retailing stocks. It's a little extended now, okay, but you can see back here when it was pushing through, which coincides right in here, you can look into some retail stocks. See the price right here is around 169. That translates into right in here, around 169, 169.5. There you go. It's extended now, though. Be careful with that. Silver's hanging in, little gappy though, okay? Little gappy, but it's starting to pick up. What is the point through all this? It's telling us areas to look into further and areas to avoid, and we like that. Steel's hanging in okay. You can look into some steel stocks. Semiconductors are acting okay, but a little bit of a gap up and reverse down on a pickup in volume. What's always the moral of the story? And I say this in Mission Winners all the time. Buy at the right price. Buy pushing through clean and simple tops that everybody can see, and don't chase price. It's too risky. What I just shared, will really help you. And that's the real one. Spider, same thing as SSO, hanging in, looks okay. A little bit of selling coming into Friday. It's a little bit extended. SSO, same situation as the Spiders. That's the leveraged one. We love SSO and QLD. But a little bit of a tail bar up there, a little bit extended too. So be careful with that. Solar stocks, there's no power here. Look, I mean, folks, look at this. Oh, that's trending up. Oh, that's kind of trending down. In 1 second, it says, I ain't going to look into any solar stocks right now. I'm not going to look into them. There you go. That helps us. Small cap, kind of hanging in, but not a tremendous amount of power in the leveraged area. Uranium, it's choppy, okay? There's not a lot of zip. I should say this. There's not a lot of energy there. Okay, it's dad humor. You got to have fun too, all right? Oil, kind of hanging in, but you see it on the daily, looks okay, but then you look at the weekly and say, yeah, there's a lot of overhead in here. That's power that you can use. Consumer discretionary. This is a nice trend there. Look at this. Isn't that great? Back in here, you could have looked into some, when this was pushing through here on the weekly and doing it on the daily, looked into VCR, which I think is a great ticker symbol for what this is, and say, oh, is there any stocks in that group that there was a candidate for? That's connecting the dots. And Mission Winners, that's what we do. Have you noticed, by the way, this isn't high anxiety. Oh, look at this. Oh, this, no. It's just observing, making good observations, and having a game plan. That will really help you. High emotions and good investing decisions are mutually exclusive. We don't want to do that. Let's continue onward. That's a little statistical talk for you, too. Aerospace and defense, a little choppy here. Okay. As you can see. By the way, team, please, I'm not being negative. There's opportunities here. Okay. But I'm not a cheerleader like, wow, look at this. Oh, wow. No, that's not going to work. We're just very level-headed and pragmatic in our analysis. It keeps us in the game, keeps us on the right side, keeps us safe too. Here we go. Biotechnology. What does that say in 1 second? Stay away from biotech. Done. Home builders. Another home builder ETF. Look at that base. That was confirmation way back here. And look at the move. I mean, folks, there it is. And again, there's confirmation on why we own, and I can document it, quite a few home building stocks and have for a while. The action of the ETF back here was set, let's forming a cup and a handle, folks. It was telling us, hey, you might want to look into some of me. Watch this. So, look at that. It kind of looks like a cup and a handle, I guess, if it takes out that top of volume. Oh, look at that volume picked up here. Look at the daily. And there were stocks at the same time. Again, Beazer Homes, Pulte Homes, KBH, MHO. They were breaking out and working. So it's good. Now, I'm not saying buy it up here, okay? That's not my point. The train's left the station. But you can see the tactic. It guided us to that area. Materials, kind of hanging in here. All right. Some volume here. This doesn't look too bad. By the way, how do you build things? How do you build houses? Oh, that's right. You need materials. There you go. That's what we look for. It's connecting the dots. Communications is trending nicely. Look at the nice trend there. You could have way back here looked up XLC back in here when it was forming. Watch this. Oh, it's basing here. Oh, look. Gosh, I guess if it takes out that top. On this weekly chart, you could have looked at it and said, what are some stocks in XLC? Top 10 stocks in XLC. And I bet money on it, you would have found some things that broke out and trended. That's what we do at Mission Winners. It's nothing fancy, it's simple, but it's conceptually correct. The action guides us to areas to put money into and also areas to avoid. There we go. XLE. There you go. Look at that tail bar there. That's not so good. That's energy again. What does that say? If you own energy stocks, be careful. It also says at this point in time, wouldn't buy any energy stocks. Financials are hanging in okay. That's nice to see. Industrials are hanging in, and that's nice to see. Technology's been trending up nicely. And yes, we own quite a bit of technology. It was telling us to. It was guiding us. Look at the weekly base. Look at the volume pickup here. doing a trend. That's it. It works. Consumer staples, there's really no power there. I mean, do a compare and contrast. You go, that's kind of going up. That ain't doing nothing. See, that's great to know. It's good to know areas to look into. It's also great to know areas to avoid. Continue onward here. We're about done. Okay. Healthcare is just kind of going sideways here. Okay. Yeah, not a lot of leadership. Be careful with that. Consumer discretionary. Consumer. We talked about this a while ago. The consumers come back and they're buying. And it's reflected in the chart. There you go. I mean, see the base right here? And look at the trend. Look at the trend on the daily. That's it. Now, it's a little extended now, but you could have looked at consumer stocks back then. Metals and mining, it's okay. It's okay. It's trendy, but it's a little choppy. Oil and gas was strong, but they spanked it pretty hard on Friday. And look at the tail bar on the weekly. Be careful with that, all right? Things to be careful for. Retail's, it's okay. It's been, hanging in okay. Software's been okay. The MAXLIST stocks. There's Apple. Look at this trend in Apple. Isn't that beautiful? That's the thing. Look at the base right here. And we've owned this for a major chunk of this trend. All right? It's worked for us. And it's still trending. Now, it fell a bit on volume here. Okay? Bounced up. It's just basing here. Here's my key point on this. Trends pay. Here, I'm going to shrink this for you so you can see. Look at that. You know what I call that? That's nothing. Look at the base right here. That's sweet potato pie right there, folks. There you go. But now you look at it and say, okay, it's just basing. Perhaps it'll, by the way, you see that price alert? If this starts to lift off, guess what we'll do? If the market's good and the volume's good, guess what we'll do? We'll buy more. And it could potentially be a new buy. So we'll watch it. We'll see what happens. All right? There's Apple. Continue onwards. Look at Amazon. Look at the trend in Amazon. This has been known for a while, folks. Look at the weekly. Look at the cup and the handle. Look at the volume. Look at the trend on the daily. The trend on the 8-day. Bouncing off the rising 21-day. Trends pay. I'll share this with everybody. This is really important. And this is the honest to goodness truth. This is something I wish somebody would have said to me a long time ago. Hey, what are you doing, man? Come on. Get in line with the trend and ride that sucker. That's where money is made. More money is made with less hassle and stress. And that's what I'm sharing with you. There you go. Now, I need to temper with this statement. Please don't think I'm saying every time you buy something, you're going to get a trend like this. I'm not saying that at all. But every once in a while, you will. And my goodness, trends are nice. Just let it work. And that's what we've been doing. Continue onwards. Oh, by the way, take it a step further. Started to pick up here. You can see on a slight pickup in volume, but it tailed off. Picked up good on Thursday. Tailed off a little bit on Friday. Quite a few things tailed off on Friday. Maybe we're closer to the pause. It'll tell us. You can see, what do you mean by tailed off? I'm going to give you a great lesson here. Every price and volume bar talks. We're going to look at price here. It gapped down just a bit from the previous day's close, and it ran up really good, but it closed in the bottom half of its daily range. You see the little hash mark to the right? I'm not saying it's over, but I am saying the strongest stocks close strong, okay? They close strong. This lifted and it closed a little bit off its highs. That's all. And I'm not saying it's over, please, but it tailed off a bit. You like them to close strong. Let's move on. Another key point. Right here, weekly, trends pay. Ride trends. Alibaba started to pick up. Backed off. You can see it picked up. Not a lot of volume here on Thursday. And then it dropped down a little bit on Friday. It's okay. But you look here, do a compare and contrast. You can say, oh, Amazon, that looks pretty nice. Oh, Apple, that looks pretty nice. There's Apple. There's Amazon. You can see the name up here, okay? There's Baba. Oh, that's trending pretty nice. Oh, that's just still kind of basing. See the difference? That's what we look at. And that helps us make better investing decisions. So we'll see what it can do. Is there a real spot here? Here's the best thing this could do. If this could form a little handle, and I'm not saying it's going to, plus it forms a handle here for like 4 or 5 days, and then it lifts off of that cup with a handle here, that could be a potential buy. See that? At Mission Winners, we always have a plan. And we don't impose our will. We let the stock tell us what to do. Continue onwards. And you can see it's already maybe starting to form a handle. started on Friday. We'll see. BIDU, similar situation, right? It's okay. Let it form a handle. That's the key point. Google started to pick up here. You can see it pushed through here, lifted off here. Look at the volume pick up here. People talk with their mouths and vote with their pocketbooks. They voted on it, okay? It's basing here. I'll raise this up a little bit. And we'll see what it can do. The best thing it could do is maybe form a little handle and then take off. So we'll see what happens. It's acting okay, though. We've got some VIPs are in it. So we'll see what it can do. By the way, I say this a lot. People talk with their mouths and vote with their pocketbooks. Folks, they voted. Look at the volume pickup on that bar. There you go. So we'll see what happens here. It's not a real clean entry right now. Goldman Sachs, there's no real, look, compare and contrast. Oh, that's kind of grinding up. There's just not a lot of power there. By the way, this is a very important lesson right here. Oh, it's a green bar. That's good. It's very important to note the open, the high, the low, and the close on each bar. Look at this bar and look at where it closed. See that right there, that little hash mark to the right? It closed in the bottom half of its range. There's not a lot of power. And this bar, it gapped up and it closed near the lows of its range. There's selling going on at this point in time. That's good to know. All right, nothing to do with it, so we leave it alone. All right, MasterCard's been trending up nicely. Here's the weekly, here's the daily. You can see if you can just extrapolate that line. And it's just slowly grinding up. Is there anything to do with it? Well, if you're in it, you're in good shape. I wouldn't chase price up here, okay? Don't chase price, but it's acting okay. MasterCard. Meta. Base is here, base is here. Watch this. Our first buys were right down here. This was on the key list. First buys right in here. You can look at the base. It's vanilla. And by the way, there it is on the weekly. And I lift it off. Look at the volume pickup. And look at the trend. There we go. We're in it. We've sold some into strength. We bought some a couple of times. We're in it. And it's working. Now, let's do something here. Bear with me. There we go. Fell on a slight pickup in volume on Friday. But note this, the volume was less, selling volume was less than buying volume. Doesn't mean get sloppy, but it's just saying, yeah, it's had a good run. It's going to rest a little bit. Stocks are like horses, okay? They got to catch their breath too, right? They're not just going to keep going up the rocket's red glare. So, and that's healthy as long as it pulls back on less volume. But note the clean and simple flat base there. Note the clean and simple flat base there. That's how money is made. In good shape, we'll let it work and see what happens. Microsoft, this started to lift off through these near old highs. You can see right there. And isn't it interesting? The high here, 351.47. The high here, 351.43. I'm going to show you this again. Charts have memory. That's very important to remember. I'll say it again. Charts have memory. You can say, Patrick, how can you say that? Charts are a reflection of human emotions, fear, greed, panic, complacency, and it's reflected in the charts. Look at this bar here. It gapped up. You think people bought that gap up? Yes, they did. How can I say that? Because that's where it went up to. It had to be buyers. It's not going to go up in price if it's sellers. Gapped up and fell right there. Okay? High on that bar is 351.47. All right? Watch the H. This is a very important lesson right here, folks. 351.47. There's this. Gaps up. The high on this bar, 351.43. 4 cents difference. You think there were people that bought that gap up right there? Well, of course they did. That's where price went. All right? And then it dropped. You think there's some people that bought it there and didn't sell? Yes. Now here's where it gets good. There were people that bought it up there that didn't sell. And then it fell, went up, and then it fell again, and it starts to lift, and it comes right up near the price that people bought it. And what do people do? Charts, again, are a reflection of human emotions. This is psychology stuff right here, folks. It's in the chart. People who bought it here that didn't sell, it fell, and then it comes back up. They're down like almost 30 points, and they're going, look at this. I'm back near my price. You know what I'm doing? Thank God I'm selling. I'm protecting my ego and pocketbook. And they sold, and look what it did. Gaps up, runs up, and reverses down. It's reflected in the charts. That's $1 million lesson if you remember it. And you know what's the best part? It ain't fancy. It's simple. It's conceptually correct. So a little bit of a tail bar here, okay? Maybe it's going to form a handle and take off again. We'll watch it and see. It'll tell us what to do, all right? I'm not saying buy it now, though, okay? Let it base here for a little bit and see if it can form a handle. Netflix, look at the base here forming on Netflix. See what it did? Gaps up, runs up, and reverses down on a slight pickup in volume. You think there was a seller right here? Yeah, look what it did. You think there was a seller right here? Yeah, look what it did. Think there's a seller here? The same sellers. Yeah, and others. So what does it say? Hey, we just have to watch it and see what happens. By the way, you see that lower level base right here? See that cup and a handle? See the volume pickup? That was our first buy right there. This was on the key list, right there. Right there. Look at the volume. And they bought it. 350. 350 to 351. There you go. And this is what you get. Close to 100 points. There you go. So nothing to do with it right now, just pointing it out. Clean and simple base entries. There's the weekly, there's the daily, there's the volume. That's what we do at Mission Winners. Nothing fancy. Right now, there's nothing to do with that stock. Okay? NVDA started to lift off here, ran up, and this bar here gaps up and runs up. I'll make this a little bigger for you so you can see it. Gaps up, runs up, and reverses down. What do you do in a situation like that? If you own some, you sell some. Sell some in a streak when you start to see a tail bar. There you go. Is there anything to do with it now? No, we just got to watch it now and see what happens. Okay? Our first buy on NVIDIA, believe it or not, was way down in here. All right? At around 155 to 160, this was on the key list. There you go. That's a triple. There we go. So it's a little loose right now on a pickup in volume. Be cautious with it. Wouldn't buy it here. Wouldn't buy it. Let it work and see what goes. Let's continue onwards here. I don't want to take too much of your time. Tesla's starting to pick up. This is important, folks. I saved this for now. Earnings coming in here, folks. We're in earnings season. Some of these Tesla, they got earnings coming. It's important. Know those dates. Know those dates and times. Some stocks will report before the open, okay? I'm asking, this is for everybody. This is going to everybody. Know the dates. Don't get sloppy with that. You'd hate to own something and it gaps down. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Tesla. I'm not saying it's going to happen with any stock, but it will happen to some stocks. I promise. I guarantee it. You don't want to get stuck in a surprise and go, God, I wish I knew they had earnings coming down. There we go. Nothing to do with it here. It's just hanging in fine. We'll watch it. And again, it's got earnings coming. Continue onwards. Visa started to lift up. It's kind of loose here. Had a good day on Friday. There was some selling in here, and it is a little bit loose, so be cautious with that.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.